Photography Part 2. Review this lecture after reading Chapter 1, Photography and Understanding Movies. Use the film grammar sheet in the module on D2L to aid in the note-taking process. Watch the videos in the Photography 2 supplemental playlist to enhance the lecture. We'll continue to explore the role of the cinematographer. Choosing a format of film is a very important part of the cinematographer's job. Let's explore different formats of film. Each format of film comes with a list of pros and cons. We'll begin with large formats like IMAX. Pro: high resolution means great clarity and detail. Another pro: can be projected on large screens without losing clarity. Con: very expensive. Films with limited budgets can't afford IMAX. Another con: heavy, less portable equipment than other formats. Two examples of IMAX cameras. On the left, a fairly recent example of an IMAX camera, and on the right, an older example of an IMAX camera. A side-by-side comparison of IMAX and 35mm film shows the differences in frame size and resolution. .35mm is still the most popular choice of feature films, movies made for theatrical release. Consider the size and weight differences from the IMAX format. 35mm is smaller and lighter, but it's still heavy and expensive compared to smaller digital formats. 16mm, the choice of independent filmmakers on a limited budget. Spike Lee shot his first feature film, She's Gotta Have It, on 16mm. The small, light cameras enable movement and shooting without heavy equipment. While less expensive than IMAX or 35mm, 16mm lacks the resolution of larger formats. There's a picture of Spike Lee on set holding a 16mm camera. Super 8. Before VHS and digital video cameras, the Super 8 format was used for home movies. It was never designed to be used for theatrical releases. The small, lightweight cameras allow for movement and handheld photography. While this may not be in wide use, it's still used in music videos and avant-garde film. Digital format. Pros: less light sensitive than film, smaller, lighter, faster than most film formats. Cons: affordable digital format lacks film's resolution. It doesn't have the same look as film. Side by side, this documentary compares the differences between photochemical and digital filmmaking. Students are encouraged to watch this illuminating film. Focal length. The lens choice is a very important part of the cinematographer's job. We'll cover three types of lenses: a 50mm or normal lens, a wide-angle lens smaller than 50mm, a telephoto lens larger than 50mm. Be sure to read about these lenses in Chapter 1. Each lens choice has a characteristic effect on the image. 50mm or normal lens properties: produces a minimum amount of distortion. It's how the human eye would perceive a scene. A normal lens is often used in the style of realism and documentary filmmaking. Wide-angle lens properties: a deep depth of field preserves sharpness in all distances of the frame. A wide field of view, more peripheral information. Exaggerates the distances between objects and subjects within the frame. Creates a three-dimensional look. Movement towards or away from the camera is exaggerated. The wide-angle lens creates a deep depth of field. Take a look at the image below on the left created with the wide-angle lens. It has a deeper depth of field than the telephoto image below on the right that has a shallower depth of field. We can count back into the frame. Approximately 4 to 5 crayons are clear, sharp, and in focus in the wide-angle composition, while in the telephoto image, only 2 are clear, sharp, and in focus. And then in the background of the image, this whole area is out of focus. This still from Citizen Kane uses a wide-angle lens to create a deep focus or deep depth of field. Important information is visible in the foreground, middle ground, and background. Telephoto lens properties. Shallow depth of field, sharpness in one plane of focus. Flattens the image, a more two-dimensional look. Movement towards or away from the camera is less apparent. A narrow field of view, less peripheral information. The telephoto lens helps isolate important subjects within the frame. The shallow depth of field creates a single plane of focus. In the still from Jackie Brown on the top, the location is unknown due to the shallow focus. In the still from The Aviator on the bottom, the eye is drawn to the subjects in the center of the frame in the middle ground. Take some time to compare and contrast the differences between the wide-angle composition on the left and the telephoto composition on the right. In each image, the woman is standing in the same place. Notice how the wide-angle and telephoto lenses impact the image. Let's compare the differences between the wide-angle and telephoto compositions. The wide-angle still on the top from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon creates a deep depth of field. It places the characters in an environment. The telephoto composition on the bottom from The Gladiator creates a shallow depth of field. It emphasizes the subject, establishing his power. Camera angle establishes the relationship between the subject and the viewer. It's named for the position of the camera. Low angle shot emphasizes a character's power and superiority and can make them appear threatening. This low-angle composition helps to establish his dominance. Leatherface is a scary guy. Authority and control. Shaft is a good guy. His control and authority are established through this low-angle composition. High-angle shot. Subject seems weak, powerless, perhaps depressed. Weakness. Antonio and his son Bruno look sad and vulnerable because of this high-angle composition. Eye level shot. No visual superiority or inferiority, a neutral composition, often a realist tendency. Bird's eye view. Extreme high angle. Somewhat disorienting, not the way we normally see things. Bird's eye view angles are often a formalist tendency, like in this fantasy shot of Angela from American Beauty. An oblique or canted angle shot. The image appears less stable. It's off balance. It might suggest a state of flux. Camera movement. Understanding Movies covers camera movement in Chapter 3. We'll cover conventional camera movements here. View the supplemental playlist on D2L for camera movements. Pan. The camera is on a tripod and moves on its axis from left to right or right to left. It's a horizontal camera movement. It might follow the action in a scene. Tilt. The camera is again on a tripod. It's a vertical movement of the camera, tilting up or down. It's fluid and smooth. Dolly shot. Filmed from a moving vehicle or cart, the camera movement is fluid and smooth. Tracking or trucking is a common way to refer to a dolly shot that follows a subject. Steadicam shot. You see the man there has a harness on and the camera is attached to his body with a monopod. It combines the fluidity of a dolly and the freedom of a handheld shot. Crane shot, a dynamic camera movement, changes the position and angle of the camera. Crane shots allow the camera to move up, down, forward, and backward. Today we can use a drone to do a similar thing. Zoom shot. The position of the camera does not change. A zoom shot is created with the lens, and it can be jarring. Unlike the dolly and crane shots, the zoom movement changes the depth of field. Handheld shot uses no stabilizing device. There is a noticeable shaking of the camera. Handheld shot is often a realist tendency used in documentaries and fiction films done within the style of realism. Aerial shot, called an establishing shot when it's the opening shot of a film. Traditionally, helicopters are used for aerial movement. New technology like drones allow for greater mobility. This aerial establishing shot provides a large amount of visual information and establishes the setting. Did you know The Shining begins with an aerial establishing shot? Why not check it out? Because Photography 1 and Photography Part 2 are assigned for week 1, students can choose to answer the response questions and the discussion board topic for the film for Photography 1, Sunset Boulevard, or the film for Photography 2, Rabbit Proof Fence. This is an Australian film directed by Philip Noyce, released in 2002. Choose one of these questions to respond to. There is a presentation in the module on D2L that aids in the process of writing the response paper. Please be sure to view it before uploading a response. Question 1. How does the use of a wide-angle lens enhance the storytelling in Rabbit Proof Fence? Or question 2. How does camera movement and camera angles enhance the storytelling in Rabbit Proof Fence? Give specific examples from the film and use the film grammar. Remember, there's a film grammar sheet in each weekly module that corresponds directly with the lecture and supports the reading. I'll be looking to see if you're using the wide-angle lens properties to support your response in question 1, and if you know the difference between camera angle and camera movements in question 2. Films featured in this lecture. Students are encouraged to explore these films. You can pull the PDF version of the lecture up on D2L to take a closer look. I thank you so much for watching, and until next time, have a productive week.